let's focus on the various social movements and how these social movements actually originate from a specific geography and why they are related to a specific region. To understand this, we have the basis for the various social movements. Now, what is social movement? Social movement is nothing but it is a collective way of establishing a new social order of life. What does this require? This require cooperation of certain segment of people, a follower that should be there with that group, and it should have a good impact on the quality of life and mobilize people. So what kind of movements actually come under social movements? I could say it could be a women movement, it could be a peace movement, it could be a ecological movement, it could be any of the movement. Good example is an example of, let's say, when we say the Indigo Revolution in India. So that was a movement which was a struggle for space, a struggle for existence. There could be women liberation movement, there could be racist movements, anti-racist movements, we could say, as it happened in United States, apartheid movement as it happened in South Africa, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the aspects of activist geography. Now, why do we call it activist geography and why do we actually relate it to geography? The idea is they originate from a specific region, specific segments of population, and therefore have been very, very important. Now, these the social movements that are there are based on various aspects. They could have certain orientation, there could be certain values that you are trying to achieve out of it, or it could be just for the sake of power. So what Britishers, we could say, was doing for the sake of power, but what on the other hand was for the apartheid movement was for values. There could be a reformative movement which says that change is necessary, but the change could be slow, it's fine. There could be a movement which could be revolutionary, just break the laws and disturb everything and bring a complete change. So that is revolutionary and is a transformative approach which says that there needs to be a change, but that change has to follow a right process and a right path. So that is based on approach. Then it's similar to the extremists and the moderates in India. So it could be considered as a reformatory versus a revolutionary, extremists being revolutionary and moderates being reformatory. So that is the difference here. The next is based on objective. There could be an idea of focusing on certain norms or certain values that are associated with the group or the segment of the society. Now, whenever there is a social movement, the social movements originates from the space, on the space, in the space, and makes the space. Now, how do we actually explain it? We have a garden here to explain it. Now, the movement acts from the space. So let's say there is a movement, let's say a women movement that started. So it will originate from a space. There would be some local conditions that would be triggering this movement in a particular space, and slowly and gradually it would spread to other areas. This is a movement that act on a space. People would actually require a space to sit and protest or to identify themselves as one group. It is a movement in a space because, again, as I said, for protest there is to be actual presence in the ground, and therefore we say it's in the space. And finally, movements make a space. So whenever there is movement, there could be an expansion of a specific region that could be devoted for women development, women empowerment, we could say. So movement has led to space. So movements make space, and there is where public involvement comes in, creation of alliances come in, and all of these four aspects that we say, movement from the space, on the space, in the space, and making of the space, are related to the aspects of the activist geography. Now, Brian Miller has tried to classify the social movements in a very interesting aspect. He explained how the things have changed. In 1950s, when we focused on regional geography, it was mainly classical and chronological thinking that was there. So it was a state-centered approach which was followed in 1950s. However, in 1960s, the approach changed. There is a spatial analytical geography that developed. That means the idea is, where does revolution actually happen? How does it happen? Why it starts at a certain location? Then why does it diffuse to different areas? So those were the kind of questions that started to come up related to space and its analysis. So it was a spatial analytical geography that evolved in 1960s, and in 1970s it was a critical humanist approach which became widespread. Radical political theory was the basic feature under 1970s. Now, again, there have been numerous theories in social movement. What we would be focusing today are four major theories: the theory of communicative action, resource mobilization, new social movement, and Rowley's geographical analysis of social movement. So let's first focus on the very first of these, and that is the theory of communicative action. Now, the Macaulay systemic field and action systems are part of this TCA, or what we call as the theory of communicative action. Now, what the idea is to explore the various geographical differences that are there, how the differentiations affect the social movement strategies. What are the four basic elements? Now, the four basic elements according to Brain Miller are important. Those are economy, state, life world, and interaction between all of these. Okay. Now, the four important aspects that have been the basis of the theories of communicative action are development, divides, identity, and grievances. When I say development, it simply means that there is a difference. There are regions of uneven development, there are regions of high development. When we say divide, this divide is in the form of racial divide, ethnic divide, it could be gender divide, it could be labor divide. So anything related to differentiating people on certain basis. Identity is where you are trying to have a overlap of the patterns to understand the various characteristics. So it includes a sense of belongingness, a sense of place, as being propounded by Agnew, where he focused on the concept of location, locale, and the sense of place, which we have covered in a separate video on geography of space. And the last is grievances. Grievances actually stem out from the various actions. Now, what happens is the areas where you have lesser development, fewer exploitable resources, a difficult terrain, those are the areas which would have obviously more grievances because they have less of economic activities in those areas, and people actually don't know how to move out of this odd situation, and therefore higher number of grievances. So those are the four aspects that are very important to understand when we talk about theories of communicative action. Now, these four aspects give rise to social movements. So that was the first theory. The next theory is the theory of resource mobilization. This focuses on the collective action, but that collective action is based on what? It is based on the available resources for protest. So why a person would protest would be based on what actually he has for protest and how long he can protest. So there has to be place for mobilization, there has to be resources that are available for the protest that they are trying to raise. So let's say farmers movement, if they do not have ample resources, they cannot sit there for next 3 months, 4 months, or so on. So there has to be a kind of basis based on which the protest could move on for a elongated period of time. So resource mobilization theory is important. Resources should be available. This could be in the form of networking, leaders, physical resources, or any organizational support. The next is the new form theories, the new social movement theories. Now the new social movement theory focuses on the peace environment scenario that could be established based on the Habermas view. Now Habermas view focused on two aspects, system and life world. System focused on the material space, however the life world focused on the mental state, that is the cultures, the values that are associated with the people. So new social movement theory targets about collective building of the ideas and patterns of spatial interaction that are there. And finally, there is a role is geographical analysis of social movement. Now this focuses on integrating the resource mobilization, political processes, and the various social processes that are there. So it explains why social movements actually occur in the way they do, why there is not a different pattern of social movement that actually occurs. What is the specific nature of those movements? All the movements would have certain specific peculiarities that are there, and why it actually happens. And then there is place which is associated with the spirit of the movement, why there is a movement that occurs and it's being impacting the everyday life. Now all of those social movements, since we have talked about, have a huge influence of sociology on geography. Now there are three important perspectives that actually come from the sociology, and those are either the liberal or the structural functional perspective that was given by Max Weber. This talks about that people attach to the ideas, beliefs, and their actions. Why do they act in certain fashion? How do they act? And that is a liberal structural functional perspective being propounded by Max Weber. The next is a critical perspective that is there. Now the critical perspective talks about competition for limited resources, saying that the resources are limited, and since there is a competition for that limited resource, there is a social movement that occurs. This theory was laid down by Marx, later on pursued by Koser and Dehendorf. The next is the dialectical materialism or the Marxist theory. This talks about the political and the historical things or the events that have happened in the past, which are the result of the conflicts of social forces, and these conflicts have led to certain solutions in the future. And therefore this is the approach of dialectical materialism or Marxist approach, where the conflict is seen as being caused by the material needs. So those are the basic ideas that we have understood here. We would be focusing on many more topics in the future updates. Stay tuned for many more topics from our side in geography, and try to correlate and comprehend or bring in interlinking perspectives of the discipline to help understand the concepts better. We would be bringing in many interesting such topics for you. Have a wonderful day ahead.